Hey there everybody, welcome to the PowerUp podcast. This is your host Nathan Shields, aka Osiren. Another Skype interview today because they are awesome. My guest was Syxx from Gurnee, Illinois, and we had pretty much a general discussion about himself as a player, but a lot of detailed information about the Midwest and the Illinois-Wisconsin scene specifically. And it was really fun to learn about all these people, lots of name dropping, and it was great to get sort of a history lesson, current events from that section of the Midwest. I really appreciated Syxx's expertise and insight into that community, and I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Remember that you can subscribe via RSS and iTunes to our news feed and the podcast, and I will catch you guys later. Go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay, my name is Dan Jones. I live in Illinois, kind of in between Milwaukee and Chicago. I grew up in Indiana and Central New York. I moved to Illinois in 2001.
Nice.
So
how did you get involved with fighting games?
Well, I've been playing them since I was a little kid. I'm actually 29 now, so when Street Fighter 2 first came out, of course, me and my friends were on that, and just kind of playing the game, and I kind of stuck with it. I was an exchange student when I was a senior in high school, so between 97 and 98, I was in Japan, and I played a lot of games there. But then when I got back home, there wasn't too much. Not a lot of my friends played fighting games, so I kind of dropped off. There wasn't a scene in Indiana at the time, as far as I knew. So I stopped playing. But when Tekken 5 came out in 2004, I jumped right on that, and I've been playing that and other games since then.
Nice. Can I ask what kind of mic you're using? Because you're getting a lot of static coming through.
Oh, just a regular GE mic.
Are you really close to it?
Yeah.
Just give it a couple inches, that way. I think right now sounds about perfect, actually.
Okay, well, we'll try here.
Yeah, that should be fine. I can always up the volume in post-production or whatever.
Right.
So you didn't get reinvigorated with the fighting game scene until Tekken 5, so that wasn't all that long ago.
Right. Yeah, about 5 years ago. I actually, the first game I actually went to tournaments for was DDR. I started playing around the time Max 2 came out.
Okay.
And I stuck with it through Extreme, and they would have at least one tournament a month.
Where were you playing at?
The Southsiders in Chicago were pretty good at the game, and they had tournaments often. And there's a bunch of really good DDR players in Wisconsin. And when Tekken 5 came out, a lot of the same people that played DDR got into that game, so I already knew a lot of the people. What it seemed what happened was the Milwaukee players, they started playing DDR, or had been playing DDR, started playing Tekken 5.
That's a weird transition, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and then Southside Chicago, they all stopped playing DDR and started playing Guilty Gear. So, but I tried going to one of the Guilty Gear tournaments, but I just never really got into it. But Tekken 5, I was on top of that as soon as it came out.
What drew had you played Tekken before?
Not too much. A couple of my friends like to play Tekken Tag and Tekken 4, and we play Tekken 4 like almost every weekend, but we kind of didn't really know what we were doing other than we knew moves, we didn't really know combos and things like that, but since DDR is such an arcade heavy game, I like going to the arcade a lot. So I decided that Tekken 5 would be something that I would want to get into.
What's the arcade that you went to in Illinois?
When Tekken 5 was brand new, I used to drive all the way down to Southside Chicago to play. Eventually they got it one town over from here at an arcade, and they were open until midnight, so it was really convenient to go there, and a lot of the players from the Racine area, which is just south of Milwaukee, would come down, and the thing about it I liked was a lot of people would always be at the arcade playing, so I tried to make it out there as much as I could.
Nice. So your competitive involvement began with DDR and then kind of transitioned to Tekken 5.
That's correct.
Cool. I like it. So at what point did you become involved with things like Shoryuken and 8-Way Run and Tekken Zaibatsu?
Well, I signed up for SRK like a little bit before Tekken 5 came out because I thought it would be something that I'd get into, and I signed up for Tekken Zaibatsu around the same time. But like I said, I mean, I've always been interested in fighting games, but not so much like going to tournaments and that. But ever since Tekken came out, I've tried to make it to every tournament that I could.
Nice. What your first tournament you said was for DDR. What was your first fighting game tournament?
It was for Tekken.
Okay. Where was it held?
They had it in Waukegan. What it was one of the Namco sponsored events.
Oh, okay.
Because the arcade that it was in was a Namco arcade. So Tekken 5 early on, they had the regionals to qualify for nationals, and one of the players from Milwaukee, who now I'm pretty good friends with, he won that one. But I remember that tournament, and we had maybe 30 people, and I really enjoyed it, and I tried to make it out to every tournament since then.
What when you had that first tournament, what made you really want to come back? What sort of, I don't know, what kind of feeling did you get from those tournaments?
Well, the main thing is I enjoyed meeting a lot of the people, and a lot of them I'm still friends with. Some I don't see so often, but a few of them I actually saw at MWC. They came to come out and play in a few of the games. So that was the main reason, just to try to meet friends that are interested in the same things I am.
Yeah, I did a podcast with a couple of Dayton players around here named Action Hank and Murder by Death, who also went to MWC.
Right.
And they said it was a really great time.
Yeah, I've actually been going. Last year was the 5th year that I've been to the event.
Sweet. Now, you said you've also ran tournaments before, so tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've when I was playing DDR, I ran a couple tournaments. Here in Gurnee, they had Extreme at the time. Now they have actually a couple machines. But I've run tournaments on the north side of Chicago for Tekken DR in the arcade, and I've run a couple tournaments in Milwaukee and in Racine. Um, Usually they're pretty small, maybe 20 people or so, but it's a good excuse to get everyone to come out and play.
Right. How often do you host those tournaments?
Well, the last one I kind of inherited because the person that was gonna run it ended up not being able to run it, so everyone messaged me to you
Take up
know
the mantle.
right, and I don't mind doing it, but
Right.
I'd say every 2 or 3 months I try to organize an event just to get everyone together.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, do you play any other fighters besides Tekken 5 at a I think you said something about HDR. You're a champion in HDR.
Well, yeah, I'd say I'm pretty good at the game. When it came out, I think it was October, September, October. I picked it up, and just I thought it'd be pretty fun to play online, and the online turned out to be really good, and um, I just I got good at the game really quickly. There's some resources out there for learning ST, and they were really useful. And I tried to play as much as possible. And you'd be surprised, like when you have constant competition online, how addicting it could be. And
Mm.
I just ended up playing so much, and you know I I've been to every single tournament I could possibly go to, and I ended up winning most of them.
Nice. Yeah, that's Oh, am I coming through on your side? I'm getting some sort of echo.
Nope, I hear you.
Hmm. Okay, should be fine now. But yeah, that's something that irked me about Street Fighter 4's online, at least around here. I could never get any matches, so I was kind of deprived of that constant competition. I would play HDR just because I was almost always guaranteed a match, you know?
Right. Well, and the main difference between like HDR and say Street Fighter 4, Tekken, Soul Calibur Online is the the way it's implemented is it has like a rollback system.
Hmm.
So the matches, like, you may see people jump around a little bit sometimes. The thing I like about the game is if you're doing a move, the game recognizes the button when you press it, rather than you press a button and then maybe a few moments later, the move comes out. So
Hmm.
that's one of the things that irks me about these different games. Like even Blaze Blue uses a similar system where you press a button and then the move comes out a moment later. But with HDR, the thing I like about it is, if you're doing a move or combo, it's going to come out right when you press the button because of the rollbacks.
Oh, I see, yeah. Hmm.
And SRK is great because I've met a lot of people on that site to play. I put out there, let's do a first to 10, let's do a first to 10, and then they'd have like tournaments run through SRK, and I've actually won a couple of those.
For HDR?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who's well, let's talk. Let's see. Well, would you like to continue talking about HDR?
Sure.
All right. Well, let's talk about then the characters you play.
Right. Well, I main Cammy. I've actually used her in every tournament as my main.
Hmm.
Online as my main. Since they reset the rankings, I've only played Cammy. I think that even though they might have buffed her because of her moves and the inputs, they did nerf her a little bit from ST, from what I understand.
Hmm.
But overall, I think she's pretty solid, even though she's low tier. Like the tiers in ST, though, I think are very tight, but she suffers from having very poor matchups. And before they announced the rules for Evo this year, I was playing Akuma as a backup, and that actually worked out really well because she doesn't do too well against like E Honda.
Mm-hmm.
That's her worst matchup. It's almost like a 9-1, and
Why is that?
basically because the way her normals work against his specials, like he's guaranteed to trade or beat her every time.
I see.
So, if he gets an advantage in life, he can just sit there the rest of the match, and there's not really too much you can do to get him to try to attack you.
What drew you to Cammy?
Well, when Serlin was putting up the changelog on his website, I read something about her spinning back fist is able to jump through fireballs, and I thought that was a pretty interesting change. So I thought, well, it sounds like she has a chance to win, more matchups, and even though it's kind of like a gimmick, I think it works really well. And also, I think she fits my play style. Like, I like to use a lot of normals as opposed to the specials.
I see. And
her normals are extremely good in ST. I think she has the best set of normals in the game.
Cool. Even better than Guile?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think so. That's another one of her hard matchups. I was actually talking about him with another Cammy player, and he said that Guile can basically beat her with maybe a couple buttons, but
wow.
It's still fun to play it out.
Cool. All right, tell me about some Cammy combos that you like to do.
Well, one of the big changes that they made to her in HDR was they made her hooligan throw where she jumps in the air.
Right.
They made that easier to do, and therefore it's easier to kind of combo into. What I usually try to do is combo like crouching medium punch, crouching medium kick into that, or her cannon drill, or cannon spike, and it's actually a really good mix-up. My favorite combo to do with her is a cross-up light kick, standing medium punch, crouching medium kick, and a cannon drill. It doesn't work on everyone because Chun-Li has like a kind of like a weird hitbox, but most characters it works on, and if you land that, more likely than not, you're going to get a dizzy, and then that'll give you the game.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Are there any more specific mix-ups you'd like to talk about?
No, I mean her main one, because she has the new cannon drill, which is safe on block anyway. She can get hit out of it pretty easily. But if you can get them to jump, then with her hooligan and her cannon drills, then you can do cannon spike. And if you can get them to stay on the ground and try to block, you get them with the hooligan. So it's interesting if you can mix things up and get people to do what you want. You can hit them out of the air, grab them with that hooligan roll, which leads to a lot of damage. Because if you get them with the hooligan roll, they're on the ground, and you have a chance to walk up and start rushing them down. And that's one of the things I like about Cammy is you can rush them down, and her standing hard punch is a really good meaty attack in that game.
Now, what about on Wake Up? You've got the cannon drill, or cannon spike rather, obviously, but what else does she have on Wake Up?
Well, almost every time I knock someone down, I go for the standing hard punch because it has such a high priority as a meaty. That's always seems the best way to go. I've seen people knock down and then try to cannon drill in, but you're better off just walking in.
Oh, I meant when Cammy's down.
Oh, when she's down, it's this same kind of thing that you experience with ST. Like, people might try to jump in, might try to go for meaty combo, but for Street Fighter, the way I see it, the best option is to just block. If you can see that they're jumping in and you know that it's not a safe jump, then you can hit them out of the air with cannon spike. But a lot of the time, you're just better off blocking.
Mm. Now, in the Illinois area, in your scene, do you obviously play a lot with some of the local people, right?
Well, for ST, I usually just go to tournaments, and if people want to play afterwards, I play. But all my practice is done online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The biggest tournament we had for that was about 40-something people. The biggest one I got second at that one.
Congratulations! It's really cool.
Thanks. I mean, it was the first bi-weekly that they had at Nickel City, and a lot of people came out because Street Fighter 4 was new, and since HDR was there, we ended up having that as well, and a lot of people entered.
What did you feel was like the general level of competition at that event?
So.
Yeah.
For the thing about the Chicago scene is, I think there's a lot of good players, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people are as good as they could be.
Mm.
That tournament, I went through the whole winners bracket, other than winners finals, without losing a round. It's just, people were kind of interested in the game, but I think more people were starting to play Street Fighter 4 instead. So
right, yeah.
But that tournament was interesting because I had won a few of the tournaments at another venue, and I started talking a lot of shit just to get people, to come out and play me, because I wanted to play everyone, and everyone thought, oh no, this guy's no good because he only wins tournaments at this location and nobody's good. But it's like, it's all the same people coming to this other one. And, Ari, as you probably know, is one of the best players. He's probably the best player in the Midwest for 2D. He's the top Street Fighter 4 player, and he plays everything else quite well. And everyone said, well, oh no, you don't stand a chance against him. And everyone was so excited when we finally got the winners finals, and it came down to me versus him. And I ended up losing the first match, but then I took the next three, and people were just going crazy because they couldn't believe it. Because I had been playing Tekken, and I never really played Third Strike or Guilty Gear, which are two of the biggest games in Chicago, and I'm just this guy coming out of nowhere and beating the top player. That tournament I ended up not winning, though, because he won the losers finals against Humbag, and then we played out 2 sets in grand finals. The first set he ended up switching characters from Balrog to Ryu and beating me, and then the second set came down to the last round, and even though I lost, I think people understood that, or at least I hope they understood that, some guy that, practices the game really hard and is dedicated can beat people on that level.
Very cool. Now, had you heard of just recently we had a tournament at the Arcade Legends place in Fairfield.
Yeah, I had actually wanted to go to the Gin Masters tournament, but it turned out that I couldn't go, and that one in Cincinnati came up, but nobody really seemed interested in going with me. But I really wanted to play Immortal again.
Yeah, he ended up winning.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised. He's extremely good. I actually met him at a tournament in Indianapolis.
Cool.
And he seemed like a really cool guy, and I knew he was good at ST. So when HDR came out and I started getting good, I said I really wanted to play him, and I went to Indianapolis with the same mentality that I'm going to go and do really well, and I can't wait to play you in the grand finals Immortal, and everyone was this, same old story like, oh, you can't possibly be that good. And what ended up happening was I played him in the grand finals, and he played Vega as usual.
Right.
I stuck with Cammy throughout the grand finals. I think it ended up being 4-2. He changed to Chun-Li for the last match, and it threw me off a little bit. But that was one of my favorite matches that I played, and I was kind of disappointed they didn't get it on tape because I thought it was a really good match. The thing about like ST and HCR, like it's so hard to find videos of the game, like tournament play. It just seems like nobody ever wants to record the game for some reason.
I did manage to get the losers and grand finals of the Arcade Legends HDR tournament, and they're on the Midwest Fighting Games YouTube channel right now.
That's good. I'm looking forward to watching them because I know he's in the Street Fighter 4 now, but he obviously he's just as good as ST as he ever was.
Yeah. Do you always stick with Cammy, or do you ever counterpick?
Well, like I said before, when Akuma wasn't banned,
right?
My goal, my strategy was to, if anybody picked it E Honda, I would go to Akuma, but otherwise I would just stick with Cammy. It's just like
you needed a Honda killer.
Yeah, and Immortal would just be like, boo, boo, why are you picking Akuma? I'm like, it's just because he's playing E Honda, so give me a break. He's like, all right, that's okay, because like this debate about Akuma, like people would try to talk about it, and then they'd always close up the threads on SRK.
Yeah.
But then eventually Mr. Wizard was like, okay, something must be going on because nobody's talking about this. So we're just going to ban him for Evo. And I think he made the right decision because, even though Akuma has his weakness where he takes more damage than the other characters, it's just he's so overpowered. And one of the things that Serlin changed was his air fireball. And what happened was, if there's a way to set up his air fireball that even if you block it, you can still get Raging Demon for free. So,
wow,
it was probably for the best that they ended up banning him. And even though I played against a couple E Honda players at MWC, I just wanted to stick with Cammy the whole time and just do the best I can.
Right.
Whereas maybe like a real ST player would have a backup character, I just wanted to stick with one character the whole tournament.
That's respectable. I like that.
Thanks. Evo might be a little bit different story. I'm trying to decide who I'm going to play as an alternate, but I'm familiar enough with the game that I think I could, start practicing a character and be ready for it.
Cool. You got anyone in mind?
Either Ken or Chun-Li.
Cool. Are you going to be coming to Seasons Beatings this year?
Yeah. I actually went to the last one. It was pretty cool. I went for Tekken and Soul Calibur 4. Soul Calibur 4, they had a ton of people sign up, and they weren't ready for it. They didn't have a lot of stations. They ran it the same day as Tekken, and those were the only two games that were on PS3, so they didn't really have a lot of systems. And
okay.
Soul Calibur 4, I think it ran till like 4 in the morning.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous. Like, when I got knocked out, which was really late at night, like I had to wait like 2 hours to get to one of my matches. Like, it was just ridiculous. There's just too much going on.
Yeah.
It's not Galleon or Fuji's fault. It was just they weren't ready for the number of people that were going to show up, because that's a big 2D tournament, and who would have imagined that they would get 100 people to come for a 3D game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I did a podcast with Galleon and Fuji, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that they've kind of learned from that and will definitely be on top of things even more come this year.
Right, and there's more games on the next gen systems now, so there's going to be more available for the next event too.
Right.
So I don't think that'll be something to worry about this year.
Most excellent.
Especially, Soul Calibur 4, it was really popular for a short amount of time, and then it just dropped off.
What happened?
Just people decided to stop playing it. Like Chicago, when I was playing the game heavily, we would get a decent amount of people, but then it's just, I don't know. We had a tournament, and we got almost 40 people, and then the next one we got like less than 10. It was really weird.
Wow, just like a complete plateau, just complete drop off.
Yeah, and if I had to guess, I'd say it's just the old school players might not have liked the game. I don't know, but we did have a couple people from Chicago qualify for nationals, which is coming up next month, and we also had a few people in Wisconsin qualify for nationals. So they're still playing a little bit, but they've actually told me once nationals is over, they're not going to play anymore.
Wow. Now those are nationals that are actually run by 8-Way Run, right? Or is this something different?
It's it's associated with the old Caliber forums and 8-Way Run. I guess everyone agreed up on that this is going to be the national event. So
okay.
They had qualifiers all over the country. Chicago was the last one, I believe, and that's happening next month. And I know a lot of people that are going to that, and I think they'll do pretty well.
Cool. Let's take some time then and talk about Tekken.
Okay.
All right.
What do you want to know about Tekken?
So, you guys, do you have a T6 arcade machine there?
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
Nearby here, in Racine, which is maybe about 40 minutes from me, they got Tekken 6 a few months after it had come out in the arcades, and we were playing a little bit, and BR was announced pretty soon after that, so the arcade manager jumped on that, and we had the game for a little while, and he switched it out with one of his other games and ended up breaking it.
Ooh.
So he had to send it back to Namco to have him fix it, but he got it back recently, and I just decided to start picking it up now because I watched the finals for Devastation. I'm like, this game's really good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start playing it right now because the original plan was to wait till it comes out for console and then get back into it. But I think I'll be better off getting a jump on it right now.
Cool. So you've been playing T6 at the arcade. Is most of your practice, however, with Tekken 5?
No.
Most of your time has been spent on that until T6?
Right.
Yeah.
We still play DR every once in a while because everyone around here that still plays is really good, and even though we don't play it on a regular basis anymore, like, people are just as good at the game. So I mean, people say like, "Oh, I'm bad now. I'm bad. I haven't been playing." Like, it's still really good.
I guess imagine what they could do if they were practicing more.
Right, and I think like the two top players in the area are Antonio from Racine and Mateo from Watertown, and they come to the arcade very often, and they're extremely good. Mateo's good at a lot of different games. He qualified for Soul Calibur 4 nationals, and he's always been good at Caliber and Tekken. Antonio is another guy that's extremely good, and he's good at a lot of games. He's the one that taught me a lot of the basics in Street Fighter 2. And the first time I played him in a tournament, I ended up beating him, and he couldn't believe it. It's like, well, because he's like, "Oh, you're bad at Tekken. How can you be good at this game?" And I'm like, "I'm not that bad at Tekken. Just you beat me a lot." But we ended up playing for money. I think a couple weeks after that, and he beat me 10-8.
Oh, not bad.
But you know, I learned a lot from playing that match. I'm like, wow, I need to change a lot of the stuff I'm doing. And it's just like, just by playing against him, I got a lot better.
Okay.
He's extremely good. We actually played a few weeks ago as a rematch because you know, he wanted to play again. I'm not gonna say why, but we ended up playing for $50, and I just destroyed him. But you know, I don't know if he was having an off day, stick wasn't working. I don't know his excuse, but it was fun.
Cool.
It's fun. I'd be willing to play that match again.
So who do you play in Tekken 6? Who do you play as?
Well, Tekken 6. Since I've only been playing for a short period of time, I've just been playing Lily. But when it comes out on console, I'm gonna try to play Lily, Asuka, and Elisa. When Tekken 5 was brand new, I stuck with Asuka for a long time, and she's okay. Like, the thing about Tekken is a lot of the characters, they can be good, but then there's characters that are really good.
Oh, okay.
When the game got into like late tournament before DR came out, I switched to Nina, and it's like, wow, this is easy now. Like, I'm beating people that I couldn't beat before with Asuka. But when DR came out in the arcade, Chicago, we actually got the beta test because, from what I understand, Namco had an office in Chicago, so they set up the beta in the arcade here.
Nice.
And, I was on that, like, I'd say about 3 or 4 times a week. I'd be down at the arcade for a long time playing, and one of the new characters, Lily, really interested me. I thought she was an interesting character because she kind of broke the mold of between, like, old style of Tekken switching to new style. And
I'm not familiar with Tekken, so what do you mean by that?
Well, like, the old style play, like, the moves are very, very simple and almost like stiff. And then you have like a character that's doing like flips and jumps and jump kicks and back flips, and I'm like, well, this is pretty interesting. So I played her a lot, and I ended up writing a FAQ for her before the game even came out in the arcade.
Nice.
Because I was playing the beta, I'm like, well, I know all this stuff, so I'll kind of share. And what happened was they started opening up the forums on Tekken Zaibatsu for the new version of DR being out, and he ended up making me a moderator on that site. So I'm the moderator in the Lily forums on that site, and eventually I became a moderator of the Asuka forums, and then just recently the Elisa forums. So those are the 3 I'm going to play when the game comes out on console.
Now, what draws you to Tekken that something like Street Fighter 4 or Third Strike or some of those other 2D games don't quite have?
Well, the thing I like about Tekken the most is the combo system. You might think that, Tekken's just launch and then do a standard combo and that's all it is. But there's a lot of different things that you can do in the combos depending on, how far away you are from the wall. Um, if you want to maybe cut some of your combo damage and do a setup when after you knock them on the ground, things like that. And that part of the game is interesting to me. Um, the other thing that's interesting about Tekken is it's a very frame based game. So there's a lot of things that you need to know. Like if you're playing one character against another character and another character doesn't move and it's not a safe move, then you have to know what to do with your character to punish it.
Okay.
And people think that it comes down to numbers, and that's kind of true. Like, because you can see like a chart of frame data, and then figure it out from that. But a lot of it comes from trial and error.
Mm.
You see a move, and you have to know how to react to it correctly.
So it's very character specific, and there are a lot of characters.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff to learn to the game, and I think that discourages people from getting into it. But if you practice enough, it just starts to come naturally. It's not really something that you have to think about.
So let's talk about Lily a little bit.
Okay.
I guess kind of the same questions as with Cammy. Like, what are some of her best combos or normals or things like that?
Okay. Well, in Dark Resurrection, her hop kick, which is like her jump kick, and then you can do a combo afterwards, and then her down forward 2, that you can combo afterwards, which is kind of like her uppercut move. Are her main launchers. For that game, the combo that you want to use is down forward 1, down forward 1, 1 2, forward 2 12. But one of the what that'll do is it knocks them really far away, and then you have to run up after them. So what I like to do is in that game, just do like a simple combo, like do down forward 1 a couple times, and then jabs, and then down forward 1 again, and then flip on to like do like her front flip, because then she is like right there next to them when they're on the ground with her back turned, and she has a lot of different interesting moves out of her back turn.
Okay.
Which can lead to like getting another combo or getting a setup or like a throw. And the thing about throws in Tekken, like the way that you break the throws in Tekken, depending on what animation they do for the throw, that's what button you press to break the throw.
Okay.
If she does a throw out of back turn, there's no way of reading what throw she's gonna do. And since it's a 3D game, another thing that you can do with her is the way you combo and jump around. It can change the angle so you can't actually read her arms easily. So that's one of the other reasons why I like playing her, is she can jump all around the ring.
Is that a big part of her mix-up mind game?
Kind of. She has like a side hop where she jumps to the side, and Tekken 6 she can actually hop either way, and then do a canned move out of it, or she goes into her crouch dash, which like if she does a crouch dash, she can do whatever move she wants out of it, as long as you execute correctly, or you can just hit a button and it'll do like a launcher or different moves.
Yeah, I find Tekken interesting. I just recently downloaded the Tekken 5 DR with online capability, and I've been playing Bruce Irving. I find him interesting because I also do Muay Thai kickboxing, so kind of got a little connection with the character in that way.
Yeah, he's super solid in DR. You probably know like his best move, which is back away 2, like back and triangle.
That's the one where he crushes him with his elbow and knee, right?
Right. Yeah. That's his best move for
Yeah.
sure. Like you can do that like every other move
Nice.
and get away with it. It's just it's a ridiculous move. And he has that like really fast like low kick, I think. Just makes like that loud sound. I don't remember the notation, but that I mean, and then his punishment game is pretty good. Like if you block like a low that's unsafe, just do while standing 1-2 into like a mix up, and like their back is turned to you. It's just he's really good, and like his combos in Tekken 6. I don't know if you've seen them. Like they're just ridiculous. Like not so much his damage, but like he's like jumping everywhere, doing. He has all kinds of weird new moves in Tekken 6, and his combos just look so impressive.
Very cool. Well, I have it pre-ordered, so that'll be fun to get my hands on.
Yeah, but the thing about Tekken 6, especially is, there's tiers, but from what I understand, like nobody in that game is bad. Yeah,
Cool.
it's the same thing with DR. Like there's tiers, but like you can play anyone and be
Mm,
good.
that's
That,
excellent.
that's another of the things that really draws me to Tekken. I mean, there's no characters that are just complete garbage.
Yeah, hopefully I'll find some more players around here locally that play Tekken and maybe Soul Calibur, some more 3D games. A lot of the Dayton and Cincinnati players are all about 2D games, mostly Capcom stuff.
Yeah, Cleveland has probably the strongest scene for Tekken.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
keep it in mind.
but yeah, they have a lot of good players, but the ones that I've seen the most or played the most are Honky Number One, Sazabi, and Nash. They're all extremely good players,
Hmm,
and when you'll see their names when they start to run Tekken 6 tournaments
I
for
bet.
sure. Yeah. Because I know like Honky's on my friends list on PSN, and he's still playing DR online.
Hmm.
So I know they're going to be all over Tekken 6 when it comes out.
Well, then let's talk a little bit more about the Illinois-Wisconsin scene. What other kind of well-known players besides yourself are around?
Okay, well, as far as Wisconsin, the two I already mentioned, Mateo and Antonio, they're probably the best at almost everything. Um, at least as far as what they play. Like the main difference between Wisconsin and Illinois is Wisconsin's more like focused on 3D. Illinois is more focused on 2D. So it's going to be like different sets of players, even though obviously like either state will play either game.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as Wisconsin, the two strongest Soul Calibur players and probably Tekken players in Madison would be Jimmy Choi and Mystic Bill. They both qualified for Soul Calibur 4 Nationals. They're also very good Tekken players. Jimmy runs like it's either like a weekly or a bi-weekly Soul Calibur 4 tournaments in Madison.
Hmm.
So I try to go up there when I can, maybe like once every other month. When Soul Calibur 4 was new though, like I went to every one that I could. But he's really trying to keep the scene going in Madison. He gets decent turnouts at his tournaments. His family owns like a Chinese food chain,
Hmm.
so he actually runs his tournaments at one of the restaurants because
Excellent.
on Saturdays it's not that busy, so we can get away with setting up a few TVs, and it's really fun. He's a really good tournament organizer, and he's extremely dedicated. Um, and he's a very good Soul Calibur 4 player. He wins a lot of the tournaments that he runs. He's done really well at Chicago tournaments, and he actually won the last extravaganza that they had in Iowa.
Hmm.
Extravaganza is like their long-running tournament series in Iowa. They didn't have one for like a long time, but they had one, I believe. I think it was early on this year. But he won that tournament. That was a pretty big tournament for him too.
Do you feel that the Illinois and Wisconsin scene is kind of held up by this group of like 10, 12 players? And what about new players? Are you guys seeing with Street Fighter 4, is that bringing in anyone new, or has it still been sort of the same group for a long time?
Street Fighter 4 is bringing in new players, but it seems like the same people that were good before are good at this game. Mm-hmm. But we do have a few new players that are doing really well. One of my buddies, Calvin, he goes by J Money on the forums. He comes to the tournaments and he can get top 3, and he did pretty good at MWC in my opinion. He's one of the guys that tries to play everything, but like Street Fighter 4 is so easy compared to other games that he can like do really well in that game and not really have to practice. It also kind of helps that he's playing Balrog.
Yeah.
It's just like, cause he just comes in and does his thing, and he got second at the last local tournament, and he's won one from what I remember, and he's extremely good, and I think if he sticks with it, like the thing about him is he doesn't advertise himself as a Street Fighter player. He just kind of plays everything. But he's extremely dedicated to the scene. He's run a couple tournaments in Chicago called Fight It Out. The last one we got a lot of people. I'd say like 80 people showed up, and we even had people come from out of state, which was great.
Wow, very cool.
He's running another one, I believe early August, so I'm really looking forward to that. But gosh, with Street Fighter 4, it's just I know there's a lot of potential in Chicago, but it's just not showing. It didn't show at MWC. Humbag, which is he doesn't live in Chicago or even near it. But he's part of the scene. He's the only one that I see doing extremely well, other than Ari in Street Fighter 4. But I think people are starting to get used to it, and we'll see more from the players. It's just hard naming names in that game because I don't know. To me, it seems like everyone's just not that great at it.
Yeah, it's still new. People are still learning what they need to do.
Right, and I don't know. I couldn't get into the game because it's like, even though I had played Street Fighter 2 before, when HDR came out, I decided that I'm gonna actually learn how to play this game like the right way. And then I learned all this new stuff, and then Street Fighter 4 came out, and it's like, okay, wait, they changed the rules too much. I don't get it. So and I don't know, like there's a lot of things in the game that they did right, but there's a lot of stuff that they did wrong. But I think with a few changes to the game, it could be extremely good.
I'm pretty sure they'll be changing. I've read quite a few articles on Event Hubs and
Right.
a little bit on SRK about the next iteration. The producer's been dropping hints about things like that. So
Right.
I'm sure we'll see a Street Fighter 4. I think Dash is the sub name that people are starting to give it. Street Fighter 4 Dash. I don't know.
Right. Right. And like just to give an example, like the one thing that I noticed extremely early on when that game was out was the block stun was very, very short. So if you wanted to play a combo centric character, like I was playing Sakura, if you mess up her link by like one frame, you're gonna get thrown. It's like, why, why, why even bother like doing all this work? Like, and
Yeah, yeah. If they're gonna make it that hard and that easy to punish, why even try?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not that like I can't learn how to do links
Mm,
because you have to do them in ST all the time.
right.
But just making them, giving them like one or two more frames in between there that you can hit the button to get them to come out would make a very big difference. At least in my eyes. Um,
Yeah, I've heard a
but
lot about like double tapping to get links to come out. I'm still not quite
right.
exactly sure how that works. I've tried it
Uh,
and it doesn't seem to help me very
yeah,
much.
it's kind of like you hit a button, then you like slide from one button to the next. I've read about it. Like when I play ST, I just do the combo. I like, and why should you have to mess with any of that stuff if you're
Mm,
just trying to do a combo? And it shouldn't be as easy as like Arcana Heart or Guilty Gear where you can do a chain combo, or Street Fighter Alpha 1 I guess would be a good example, or Marvel. Like it shouldn't be that easy. There should be some sense of accomplishment from doing the links, but it shouldn't be as hard as it is.
hmm.
That I mean, especially when they're trying to dumb down the game.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it shouldn't be that like easy, but on the other hand, it shouldn't be as hard as it is.
Well,
That's my
in these
that's my
last few minutes, let's kind of zoom out and talk about the Midwest scene at large. And I don't know what you think about it.
I think Tekken 6 is going to be a big game in the Midwest. I mean, it's coming out not just on PS3 this time, but on 360. Tekken 6 is going to be very easy for people to get into, at least on like a mid level. And I think a lot of people are going to be playing it. That's going to be the next big game. And the thing about Tekken 6 over, say, Soul Calibur 4, I think the game is going to have a lot of longevity as well.
Why do you think that?
Um, Soul Calibur 4, it's just too simplistic. Tekken 6, there's a lot of stuff that you need to learn, and but it's fun. Once you get it down, then it becomes very addicting, whereas Calibur, you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over again.
I see.
Um, but Street Fighter 4, I think it's going to be as strong as it is now for a long time. Um, and Blaze Blue is out. Is very good.
Mm.
I got it yesterday. I was practicing all day yesterday.
Yeah, so did I.
I don't think it's gonna be just a flash in the pan. I think people are gonna play it for a long time. There's not a lot of characters, but like if you sit down and play a character, there's so much you need to learn.
Mm.
And I think and it just seems like so many people are jumping on the game because they have the new systems. They bought the new systems because Street Fighter 4 is out, and they're going to be playing it. King of Fighters 12. I'm hopeful, but I can't be too optimistic over like how many people are going to play it. I think people will play it for a little bit and then just stop.
Hmm.
But I've always been a huge KOF fan, not on a tournament level, more like I like the game, I like the story. If people want to play, I'll play it, but I've never been into it too heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was in Japan, I played a lot of KOF, like, and then I came back here and it was like nobody wants to play, but I think people would give KOF 12 a shot, but SP4, it's going to be huge, and I'm really looking forward to that. I love the big Midwest tournaments, and I think SP4 is going to be like the biggest one yet.
cool. Do you think that's what the Midwest needs, is more big events like that to make sure that the players get more practice and are able to compete with the coasts?
They need big events so they can bring more players in from the coasts. Because I don't think the thing about Midwest is I don't think they'll get as good as the coasts if they only try to beat themselves.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I mean, it's and it's not so much like Midwest is bad at games because they're very, very good. There's a lot of talent. It's just they're not driven by competition. It's more like, I like playing this game, let's play.
It needs to be something to get these people excited about going out and traveling around to places like Devastation and Evo and representing the Midwest.
Right, because as far as Street Fighter 4 goes, the only reason why I mention it is because it's the top game right now. Midwest is Ari, and it's Antoine.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's it.
Yeah, Antoine actually won the Focus Cancel and then came to the Arcade Legends tournament and won that.
Right.
Pretty crazy.
Right. He's extremely good. He should have got a free spot on the 5-on-5, but he qualified anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Works out.
But the thing about with Ari, he's so good, but it's like, if you practice enough, you can at least get close to where he is. He's not doing anything that regular guy can't do without practice. It's just, he has a very, very good mentality. And I think more people need that. The thing with, and that's just talking about 2D. With 3D, it's a totally different story. We have a ton of good players, so it doesn't really matter. We don't, 3D players, they don't have to travel out of state. We already have some of the best here. I'd say the top 3D players like Antonio, Mateo, and then I should mention Damien, Thuggish Pond. He's a top Soul Calibur player. He actually got second at Soul Calibur 3 Nationals. He doesn't need to travel to be good. I mean, 3D, you can get extremely good just playing your friends.
I wonder why that is. I wonder why the Midwest is so good at 3D.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just I think there's so many good players, and they're willing to teach you how to play the game. They don't just hide out with their own friends.
Right.
They try to get as many people as they can. The thing with the 3D community is everyone's friends with everyone. With 2D, I don't think it's the case.
A little bit more tense in the 2D community.
Right. Right. And it's but there's things that you can do with HDR. Why should I have to deal with that when I can just play online and get good as I am? So.
Right, yeah. Well, I guess we can just agree that the Midwest needs the people to get excited a bit more about travel, and even if it is just traveling within the Midwest, you get out of your state and travel around, see if you can get to the West Coast and all those crazy tournaments they have out there.
Right. And I mean, if you're not going to MWC, then or SP4, which I think are the two big main tournaments,
need to rethink your priorities.
Right. It's how can you call yourself competitive if you're not going out to at least the two biggest events in the Midwest?
Right.
So.
Well, all right then, Syxx. It's been excellent talking with you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Go ahead and just stay on the line, and then we'll do a little wrap up without anything being recorded.
Okay.
And but yeah, thanks a lot. It's been excellent. I'm glad to talk about something that isn't quite 2D. I mean, I don't know that much about Tekken, and I appreciate, even if we only kind of delved into it a little bit, I really like learning about that game. So I appreciate your knowledge in that aspect.
Okay, thanks. I mean, there's a lot to the game, but I really hope that people give it a shot when it comes out on console.
All right. Well, I hope that we can do some more podcasts in the future.
Good. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Right. All right. Yeah, that went really well.
Thanks.
Thanks for dropping by, even if it was an hour early. I'll print out a map of time zones so I can keep that in mind.
I wasn't thinking about it.
That's okay.
But yeah, I really like the site a lot.
Thank you.
And I hope people get more involved with it.
Yeah. If you'd like to, I can send you the little Midwest Roundup questionnaire.
Okay.
Yeah, all you need to, it's very simple. I've had only one other person do it, but it only, there's just so simple questions on there, and then the only thing you really need to do outside of the questions is send me a picture, and it doesn't even have to be real. It can be like a forum avatar or just something funny that you like. Real pictures are preferred, highest resolution you can get. And then it'll just be a little simple page so people can kind of get a feel for all the players in the Midwest.
Right.
But yeah, I'll send you that in an SRK PM. Does that sound all right?
Okay, that's cool. That'll be cool.
Cool. I will do that then.
Yeah, I'll try to get some of my friends to fill it out.
Nice. And if you can find what were the top players' names? Ari is one of them.
Yeah, Ari, which is Flo on SRK.
Okay.
He's if you go to the Midwest section and scroll down to the bottom right, it says his name Flo under moderators.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, that guy. He went to that Street Fighter 4 Nationals.
Excellent.
And he won. They had like that big tournament in La Crosse, Wisconsin for $1,500. He won that one.
Wow, very impressive.
Yeah. And then, of course, everybody knows Antoine.
Yeah.
And his shenanigans.
His Balrog is scary.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think he's on the forums anymore.
But yeah, if you can get anyone around your area interested in doing a podcast or the Midwest Roundup, I'd really appreciate it. Okay.
No, that'd be cool. Because I really support the community stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope the website works out because I think it's really good.
Thank you.
I've listened to all the podcasts and I even watched that little documentary.
Yeah, I kind of stole that from you, Frag, but it still, relates to the community, so why not embed it in my own website?
Right.
It's free advertising for them anyways.
Yeah. That's cool. And then, what was the name of the channel?
Oh, Midwest Fighting Games.
Okay.
There's a link to it on the website too, just in case you can't find it.
Okay.
But yeah, right now it only has Arcade Legends footage, but Galleon and I kind of like co-run it.
Uh-huh.
So if you guys ever get any footage out in your area of tournaments or anything like that, just either send me or Galleon a PM on SRK or something, and I'm sure we'd be able to either favorite or have you guys upload the videos right to the channel or something.
Okay. No, that's cool. I got my own channel.
Oh, okay, cool.
I got like a bunch of videos. It's in my signature.
Oh, so nice. All right.
I probably have like 400 something videos, but it's like it's not just fighting game stuff. It's a lot of random stuff. But
well, I'll see if I can get on the Midwest Fighting Games channel, and if Galleon hasn't already favorited it, which he might have, I'll go ahead and do that too.
Yeah. All right.
All right. You have a good day, and hope to talk to you again in the future. Oh, and I guess I'll see you at SB4.
Okay. All right. Take it easy.
You too.